again, Hot Potters, and welcome to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me today in the rather damp forests of Bad Münstereifel, which is in the North Rhine-Westphalen district area of Germany. And we've come just outside the sleepy village of Rodert, which holds a rather strange secret that you'll not find on any of the signposts or in the tourist guide. Of course, that's what Mr H specialises in. The area I'm actually studying now was once a Führer headquarter, which Hitler had many of them in Germany. This one's rather special because it was hastily built. The one that he originally was posted to go into, he said, was far too grandiose, as he was a former corporal. He was a full screw in the army, as many people know. And he said he didn't like it because it was too bourgeoisie for him, type of thing. So they hastily built this one, which is in these forests. Now, this particular area actually sealed the fate for Western Europe during the Second World War, and he conducted operations on France from this area. Now, it was destroyed by the Germans close to the end of the war themselves. As the Americans was coming, they didn't want it to fall into American hands. So we're going to have a little look at what remains today. Now, half of this area is actually in someone's back garden, so we're not going to trespass, we're not going to go into somebody's private garden, because that would be wrong. But we'll have a look at what's on the outside. So let's take a look, shall we? So we're going to push on through here now. As I said, there's nothing recognisable as such, because it's just been destroyed. But I think the Americans actually had a go at blowing it up as well. But there is one or two bits in here, and as I say, you certainly won't find this on any of the maps. I know it took us quite a while to find it. Now, we're pretty close to that back garden as I was telling you about, so we're not going to venture too far up that way, because as I said, it would just simply be wrong to trespass. Obviously, the amount of signs that's up there, whoever owns that house is getting pretty annoyed with people keep coming round and then going into their back garden type of thing. There probably is bunkers underneath his garden or her garden, but you never know. We're going to take a look at what's left. Here you can obviously see, just in this area, what would have probably been a roof at one time. There's lots of little pipes and that down here. I'll try and show you in a bit. You know, there would have been ventilation pipes and communication and that. Once again, you've got lots of reinforcing in this. To say it was hastily built, you know, it's a pretty solid job type of thing. Anyway, I'm going to take the camera off Mrs H now, and I'm going to go in here with Rosie and see what little bits are left. Now inside that little bit of a collapsed ceiling, it just goes to a dead end. There's not really a lot to see in here, just bits of broken concrete and that. This is probably the only bit of the bunker that remains. That's it, looking back out into the main area. We're going to take a little look at that now. I'm now studying what would have appeared to be a type of square. I mean, there's been a bit of a wall built there, just across to that bit of rubble there. I think that's been added later, because that just looks like it's been collapsed. You know, it's been some kind of wall of some description. Doesn't take long for nature to reclaim things. The number of people that have been around here, there's lots of little walkways through. There's actually some writing on one of the walls. Don't think it's original. Yeah, somebody's done a bunker tour in 2013. I probably marked them up. Unfortunately, I can't really understand that writing. Would have been rather handy, that, wouldn't it? It's definitely unofficial, and we can see inside this one. I'll just go a bit closer. This is the inside of one of the collapsed areas. Once again, you can see lots of reinforcing. I don't think that's a room as such, it's just collapsed rubble. Somebody's obviously doing a tour because there's a torch there that somebody's left here. It doesn't work though, unfortunately. Batteries have gone on it. And there looks like some kind of pod of some description there. I don't know if anybody can see that. Whether or not it's a geocache, I don't know. Take some bloody doing get that out of there. Anyway, we'll push on. Now, I came here in 2015, but I didn't really explore this as much. Simply because it was all overgrown. I must be here at a different time of year. Yeah, that would have been a ceiling because you can see the steel on it. Right then, I'm intrigued by what's in that capsule. I'm going to try and find a big stick and hook it out and see what's in there. Hopefully it won't be somebody's ashes, you know. Why they put them in here, I don't know, but you never know. So, like I say, I'm going to get a big stick and root it out, I think. I'm a typical moocher. Anyway, I'll get it out and we'll open it up and we'll see what's in it, shall we? Oh, sorry, I can't see. I don't see that well. Everybody else put that in there like that, expecting somebody to get out. You'd see it. Well, Mrs H was better at fishing than me. She managed to fish it out. Turns out it's a bottle. I don't think there's anything in it as such. Let's put a bag over my hand because you don't know what's been in it. There we go, it looks like it's been a cognac bottle of some description. Now how old it is, I don't know. We'll probably explore that a bit more. It's probably modern, it's probably post-war. But you never know, maybe some Americans took a swig out of that. Maybe the Führer himself actually had a cognac. Mind you, he was teetotal supposedly. Probably Methodist and drank behind the door like the rest of us. Right then, we'll plod on. Just looking back where I've come from. Led up this little path here. This is moving closer to that fence. Here's Lucy. As I say, somebody obviously knows what this area was. The amount of pathways and people that have been in here. And there's the fence line, as you can see. Lots of little signs warning you to keep out and not go any further. Fair play, it's private land. I wouldn't like it if it was my garden. Although if you buy something with such significant history, you've got to expect trespassers. It's part of the course, really. We've just been coming up the path there, and as I was following Mrs H out after a fishing expedition, I came across this, which is a shell. I don't know whether it's post-war. It probably is, looking at it, but you never know. So I'm going to keep that, put that in my pocket. Now we're near the fence of that property again, and as you can see, the bunker ruins are actually on their side. So it definitely does carry on under their property. As I say, I respect people's privacy. I won't go in somebody's garden. Right, I'll make my way down through here now, and we should come to the ruins that are part of the rooms of Hitler, Cartel and his valet, Hans Linger, the faithful valet that was with him right up to the end in Berlin. Now, some people might say again, why don't you come round here, Mr H, and get your metal detector out? You know, if you're finding things on surface, why is there going to be below? It would be pretty pointless, because there's a lot of reinforcing in a lot of this concrete, as you can see, and you'd just be detecting that all the time. You know, it'd be metal detector would just be pinging. I suppose you could tell it to switch off iron, but It's going to be like digging in a gravel pit, you know, clunk, clunk, clunk. Which should just attract attention of people, really. Anyway, we've had a few finds. We'll believe that them are good finds, even if they turn out to be poor floor. Just coming out of this bit of a crater. Now this slab here, I think that this is supposedly one of the walls that would have formed part of the private quarters of Hitler, Cartel and, like I say, his valet who went everywhere with him, Heinz Linger. It does look a bit overgrown from photographs as I've seen, you know, obviously it was somebody coming here exploring when there wasn't all these trees here. And, you know, it just looks totally different. But yeah, these remains are just quietly rotting away. Again, probably the locals don't actually know the significance of this site. But yeah, Europe's fate was sealed with the Blitzkrieg in this area. Now, for anyone who does pub quizzes and that, and knows a bit of trivia on the Second World War, they will know that when Hitler was told that France had fallen, he did a silly little dance, supposedly, you know, hopped about like a chicken. Well, what happened with that was, all he did was stamp his foot, and some clever sod over in Britain thought, I can make him look a pillock here, and he looped the film, so it made him look like he was dancing about. Because if you look at the chap who's at the side, who stood there like this, he moves about as well, funnily. But nobody ever saw that in film, really, because obviously the idea was to take the piss out of Hitler. And that shot of him stamping his foot was actually done in this area somewhere, because obviously this was the headquarters that he was sat in when he was told France had fallen. A little bit of trivia knowledge for you there. Now, although that bottle that we found didn't turn out to be a geocache, there actually has been one here. We've found it. It's here and it's broken. Now, has somebody come along and smashed it? I doubt that, really. They don't seem to do that kind of thing in Germany. Remember, we're out in Back and Beyond here. So I don't think that. What I think's happened is the ground's actually been moving and this bunker ruins are slowly collapsing. And probably what's happened is one of these rocks here has fallen on it. It was only in a plastic box when all's said and done, so it's easily smashed. Unfortunately, we can't see what was in it. You know, there just appears to be a few remains of a plastic box of some description. I mean, I'm not really well up on the geocaching thing, you know. We did a thing called Munzieing a while back where you went round and you sort of scanned a QR code in with your iPhone and that logged as you'd been there. The geocaching, I think you leave something, don't you, Mrs H? You put a...
I think so, I don't know. We bought the equipment to do geocaching and then we never used it.
You know, I think you leave like a little trinket of some description and you can... Or so, in some cases you just log it, you just say, yeah, what's in that box is a little teddy or a key or whatever it be. So yeah, somebody, like I said, somebody's definitely coming in this area. You know, I might say whether they know the significance or not, I don't know. They probably just think the war ruins, you know. Right then, we'll go on now and we'll see if we can find the base of one of the log cabins that they had in here. Like I say, it was hastily built, this, although the concrete is substantial. Once again, if you was a concrete merchant, you'd have been made, wouldn't you? Right, onwards. Right, we've just climbed out of there now, out of that area. Like I say, it's sort of like a big hole. We're going to push on now and we're going to see if we can find the base to this cabin. It should be across a little road and down in some trees, but who knows. We'll see if we can find it anyway. We're now on the other side of what would be the bunker complex. Like I say, I was here the other year and me and Mrs H was just prattling about. I was just having it was before I started doing videos like this. And I was stood on here, just active Mick on camera. And I think I said, as you know, these buildings was ruined so much for being Führer Germany. They were just taking piss basically. And we all heard a scrunch. Well, I could only describe as a scrunch of military boots. It spooked me, I looked round. It certainly spooked Lucy, and Mrs H heard it as well. Who knows, maybe there is still the ghost of some forgotten soldier still wandering around and patrolling this bunker. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to push on a bit of a ghost story for you there. A lot of paranormal events happen when follow us, don't they? Now, just as we've been heading out from the bunker ruins, we've come across this pit here that's been dug into the ground. Now, ignore that light, that's obviously post-war and some junk that somebody's thrown in. Now, I'm wondering if what this has actually been. It's obviously been part of that complex. My own personal thoughts is it's been some kind of communication cables have been put in there, type of thing. Although there is a little entrance there. So, who knows, maybe the stairs go down there. It doesn't seem wide enough, that, for an entrance for someone. You know, but it could be an emergency shaft type of thing for getting to the bunkers below. Or it could be a pit of some description for the sewerage, you know, type of thing, taking water away. I don't know. My own personal thoughts, though, is for communications. Because you see a lot of them around these bunker ruins. Anyway, we're going to make our way back to the main path now. Now, this is a close-up of some of those signs that are in that person's garden. Judging from the number of them, you know, there's so many, they're every couple of yards. They've obviously had a lot of problems with people going trespassing in the garden. Now, just behind that tree there, I can see another part of the concrete ruins. So obviously this bunker does go and carry on into their garden, and that's what people are seeing, you know, they're just seeing more ruins and thinking, yes, there's more to explore, but sadly they are on private ground, and unless you have permission, you shouldn't be in there. And for anybody who does think of coming to this area, you may watch this video, because people watch these videos from all over now. Just respect the area and just respect that it's somebody else's garden, you know. You wouldn't like it if somebody come in your garden mooching about, I'm sure. We're going to make our way down this path now, which is an original path. Again, I'll try and put a period photograph of Hitler walking down here with some of his generals discussing whatever it was that was discussing. We're going to make our way down to his conference room now and hopefully find the base to that, which should still be there. So, we'll make our way down a path of history, shall we? Well, we followed the path down and we found where the conference room would have been. You know, the path is pretty much still intact when you follow it from the bunker ruins further up. Now, it's not really a big room looking at it. You know, I'll try and put a period photograph in at this point, which I think shows Keitel sat with another officer outside, just relaxing in between conferences. Now, someone has thought that in that photograph you'll see two saplings, but it's either sat in between two saplings. I should imagine here on this side. And they claim that these trees are those saplings. I don't think they are, because those trees are inside that concrete ring, so they'd have been growing through the building. You know, they'd have to be on this side. Now, there is some trees on the other side, but I don't think that those are them either. I think they would have been here. I think roughly that bench would have been here, where I'm now stood. Like I said, little saplings like that would have been cut down, you know, if not by the Germans, certainly by the Americans clearing this area afterwards. Right then, we'll take a little look inside, because it looks like somebody has been doing a little bit of relic hunting. Whether or not it's legal or not, that's another question. Now, it's obvious somebody has been in here scavenging and looking for war relics, because we have these that have been lined up here. There's a bit of tin here. The fact that they've left them, it proves that they're worthless in their eyes. They've just left them on the concrete ring for the sake of it, I think. Don't know what that is. Some bits of brick, you know, certainly wartime bricks, looking at them. Bit of ceramic pipe, there's another piece over there. Again, whether that was a drainage pipe or whether or not it was for communications, I don't know. Don't really want to think about that. Then we've got some bits of ceramic. It looks like it's been part of a sink or something, that. After all, you know, they'd still have to have a sink or some kind of facilities down here. You couldn't expect the Führer to be pinching a loaf out and running up there, could you? You know. Right then, I'll just get out of this little area now. Because there's not a lot to see, as I say, it's not very big. You know, you would think as an operations room would be a lot bigger. You know, but then again, back in them days, I suppose they didn't have that much communications equipment, just be a telephone really, wouldn't it? Well folks, that was a tour of Felsennest, the former Führer headquarters. We hope you enjoyed it. We're going to get off now. I'm going to get back to the car because once again it's very damp and raining today and I'm mucky. Some more clothes for us to wash. Anyway, until the next time, bye bye for now. Come on girls. Bit of a final Mr. H thought for you on this one. When we've come out of there now, we've left the bunker ruins and the forest behind, as there's a very oppressive atmosphere in there. Mrs. H picks up on it more than I do. Whether or not it's because you're so enclosed with the trees and that, and you know what the ruins represent, I don't know. But certainly after you've been in there for a while, you just want to get out and get away. Now, a bit of a funny one this, because when I was recalling the story of when we was here in 2015 and I was telling you about the scrunch of boots that sort of crept up behind us when I was taking the piss out of Hitler in the area, the very next couple of clips that we did afterwards, the audio was very low on them. You know, something had affected the camera. It was as though something was playing games with us. Luckily, we was watching one of them back and we realised that something was wrong. So obviously you check your equipment, you know, you blow up where the microphone is and the speakers and all that. And there was nothing wrong with the equipment. We did another test one and everything was fine. It was as though something was playing games with us just to let us know it was there. Another thing that you'll probably notice as you've been watching the film back is that little Rosie, any clips where she's on them, she's glowing on them. And the same thing happened in 2015. And now if you put the camera on her, I bet it's just a normal, grubby Jack Russell dog. You know, it's as though there's an halo on her when we was back there. There's definitely something going on in that area. Like I said, whether or not there is spirits or not, I don't know. Bit of a final thought for you, that one. I'll leave you with that one.